Alright, this is musicmoose.org. I'm DJ James, and today we're going to continue the lesson on guide tones, kind of do an advanced guide tone lessons. And the way that I want to approach it this time is by introducing it into a more standard progression. So far we've been dealing with a 2-5-1 progression, which is essentially what we use for turnarounds, but is also the basis for most progressions in jazz, most progressions in a lot of pop music, and in Western tonal harmony to begin with. But the rhythm changes is a more expanded progression, something that if you don't know, we all should know it. And everyone kind of has a different way of approaching the rhythm changes. I'm going to play the version that I generally play the most. The way that we play rhythm changes, or the way that we play chord progressions to begin with, is very sensitive to the other guys in the band. Generally, when we approach playing changes, playing a chord progression, we have to be attentive to, first of all, the soloist. What kind of harmony does the soloist like to play? Second of all, as a guitarist, you have to be attentive to other comping instruments in the group, generally piano, vibes, marimba, organ, what have you. And we also have to be attentive to the bassist. What kind of harmony the bassist likes to use, and what kind of bass line we're getting and is being laid down. But the standard rhythm changes that I like to play starts off with the B6. Now, rhythm changes generally always happen in B flat. Sometimes you'll see them in F, especially in old Charlie Parker tunes and charts from that era. Sometimes you'll see them in different keys. But the standard chord progression of the rhythm changes happens in B flat. So we have B flat, the C minor 7 to F7, which is our 2-5-1, back to B flat 6. And then generally the way that I like to play it is then to substitute another 2-5-1 for the B flat 6 the second time around. By going D minor 7, G7, C minor 7, F7, back to the B flat 6. So let's play through that progression one time. Then we move into the B section of the progression, which will usually start on a G7. Moving to a C7, to an F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat minor 7, to A flat 7, D minor 7, to G7. And that's one version of the rhythm changes. And we could think of it as an AABA form, but like I said, I use a chord substitution usually the second time through the A section, so it turns into something that's a little bit different. But let's play through that progression one time. Standard rhythm changes right there. Now, again, things are always a little bit different. You notice that time through I played a G minor 7, and actually what I was hearing was a G7 sharp 9, which includes both thirds, which is why I played the minor third on top of that. Lots of variations, and we'll get into that as we get into future lessons on Music Moose. What I wanted to really get at here now is the concept of guide tones as applied to that type of chord progression. We start off with our B flat 6. I know I said last lesson that your guide tones are your 3rd and your 7th. What if you're playing a 6th chord? You don't have a 7th. Instead there we have B flat, D, F, G. Well, we can consider the G maybe a guide tone 3rd and 6th, or the 3 and the 1. Either way, the important thing is to have that D in there. The D is the most important thing. And then we move to our C minor 7, F7. D minor 7, G7. Where are our 3rds and 7ths in those chords? Well, in the 2-5-1, the first 2-5-1, the C minor 7 to the F7, we've got ourselves a B flat and an E flat on the C minor 7, which is our 3rd and 7th. And then on the F7, we have A and E flat, our 3rd and 7th. So one way we can approach playing that tune then is by starting out with the B flat and the D as our 2 notes on the B flat 6, as our guide tones there. There's our 2-5-1, all in 4 frets, right? We're playing it B flat and D, E flat and B flat, A and E flat, and then back to the B flat and D. Now, if we bump that up 2 frets, well, then we have our guide tones running on the 2-5-1 from the D minor 7 to the G7. Okay, so let's play that entire thing right through. Now, if we were playing in sort of a big band situation where we have a 4 on the floor type sound, and there's our Freddie Green sound, 2-note voicings. We can add a 3rd note voicing, we can even add 9ths or anything bigger than that. Once we get up into that B section, our 3rds and 7ths are happening, again, usually if we're playing a standard 3-note voicings, right up there on the top of the chord. Simple enough. So we can generally think of those guide tones as the most important points in every one of those chords. So let's go through that entire progression one more time. And you can hear the whole progression, and I'm only playing 2 notes a chord. That's the whole idea behind the guide tones. Give yourself the smallest amount of sonic material to really demonstrate a lot to your listener, to really demonstrate a lot to the rest of the band, and to fill out the sound, really prod on your soloist. If you're using those very light voicings instead of big, thick, lush voicings, you give your soloist a lot of room to really explore the harmony the way that they want to, especially when you get to a dominant 7th chord. Say, for instance, when we hit that F7. I know it passes quickly, but you got to be on your toes when you're playing this type of music, especially at a tempo like 240. But once we get to that dominant 7th chord, as a guitarist, you're playing the A and the E flat. Now it's up to the soloist to fill in the rest of the chord any way they want. They have that basic dominant chord, and they can throw in alterations, a sharp 9, a flat 9, flat 13, whatever you want. And again, as someone who's comping, the guide tones are very important because it imparts enough sonic material so that the rest of the band knows what you're doing and knows where you're going, but allows them to explore the tune the way that they want to. All right, so next time we're going to explore soloing a little bit, how we can apply the guide tones and how we can add the concept of guide tones into our soloing. For musicmoose.org, this is DJ